Good day and welcome to another edition of BNV Sports. I'm here joined by Andrea McKey, who was recently inducted into the Elite Martial Arts Hall of Fame as an up-and-coming, as well as two other Bermudian athletes. But first of all, congratulations, Andrea.
Thank you.
Now, it's been a struggle for you and your organization, as well as the other martial artists, during the pandemic. And the opportunity to compete was created by the World Federation and other federations around the world that would have competitions where you had to do it online.
Yes.
Speaking with some of your athletes, how challenging was it for them to come up with a routine? Obviously, you guys worked together, but you hadn't been able to fine tune those things in the lead up to a lot of the routines they were doing in competition.
Yes, the COVID came along and it put a speed bump in the way for martial artists as well as other sporting organizations. But the WFM reached out. I've been a part of them for a couple of years now, but they kickstarted in April. We got to do stuff to motivate kids and get them motivated and help the children around the world. And so we started thinking, well, how are we going to do this? We obviously couldn't train in the dojo. We started out where we were asking our students to send in videos so we could critique. We were sending them videos of how to do a kata. And then we brainstormed, and 2 weeks later we were doing Zoom classes every week, kept everything going consistent. And then we were outside at Shelley Bay in the basketball courts. We started there once we were able to be outside. So although the COVID-19 did put a strain on the martial artists and competitions and stuff, especially our local competitions, it also was a positive because it's allowed us to now do these overseas tournaments without having to travel. And as you know, it's quite expensive traveling from Bermuda overseas and going to all these tournaments. They have tournaments in the States every weekend, in England every weekend. So it would be impossible for us. So now it is possible. And the children are loving it. We've had 14 students altogether from 3 different schools in Bermuda compete online at various tournaments throughout the last few months. And it's great. I mean, some of them are absolutely loving it.
When you look at some of the performances online, I've seen a few of them as they're actually going on, because the events are pretty much all day and they're being critiqued by officials as it's going on there. Are you looking at your athletes as well to try and critique what they're doing and give them advice immediately after, or are you waiting until a day or two later to then talk to them?
I normally wait until a day or two later. I do reach out to them that day and congratulate them if I have seen something in their video whilst they were competing online. Then I do speak to them. Luckily for me, 2 of my grandchildren compete online as well, so they get critiqued right away. But the others, I do reach out and speak to them at some point. And Sensei Christina does the same with her students.
Yeah. When you're looking at, how did you get started in martial arts?
How did I get started? 2 of my children were doing martial arts, and I was sitting there with my baby. I had a 2-year-old as well, and I was sitting there watching it. And then finally I said, well, I'm not getting any younger. I need to try and stay fit, so let me just start. So I started. Those 2 quit. The baby ended up, when she was 5, she started. She ended up quitting, and I've just actually stayed and fell in love with it, moved up through the ranks, and I am now a 4th degree black belt, and I help teach the children's classes.
Yeah. How do you manage your training as well as teaching? Because in order for you to continue and maintain, you have to also put in time for training as well. And how do you balance that out?
For the juniors class, I am the teacher, so I do that class. And then we have a seniors class afterwards, which is like an hour and a half on Monday and Wednesdays. And then on Sunday mornings as well, I train. So that is my time to step out of the teacher role into the student role. And between Sensei Trim, Sensei Butterfield, giving me lots of critique over the years, trying to fine tune me. I am not the youngest student there, but with them constantly on me, and me having decided in my mind that martial arts is a way of life, that is how I've been able to progress myself.
Right. How much mental training goes into it, especially when a lot of people fear doing things in front of people? And obviously, insurers in Bermuda, you've got all the schools there, you've got family, friends. How did you get through that first and or second event that you ever had to compete in front of a crowd of people?
That's funny you should ask, because I actually was very, very shy before I started martial arts. I never liked to speak in front of people. Doing this would have been a definite no-no. And even though I'm nervous now, nerves is very good for people to be able to do this. But I started doing my first tournament. I got the butterflies, but I had to prepare myself and just try to block everybody out. And what I do is I go and I block people out, and I block everything out, and don't even realize that there are people in the room. And the minute I take my attention off of me blocking people out and I look at something, I find that I get not confused, but I find that, oh, wait a minute, let me get back there. So yeah, it's a lot of mental, and even to this day, preparing myself to go in a tournament online in Bermuda or overseas, I still get the butterflies and I still get the nerves, but it helps me. I find that it helps me. And I can now speak in front of people, which has helped me in my life all over, in my job and everything else.
What would you consider being your strength in the sport? I know you do several of the disciplines. Which one would you say you've kind of moved ahead of the rest in?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Which one of the disciplines you do would you say you've moved ahead of the rest, that the others that you do?
Believe it or not, weapons seems to be my strong suit. I enjoy the weapons. I have done weapons at my school, and then I wanted to learn the sword, so I went to Sensei Christina Ingham, from the blessing of my sensei, and asked if she could teach me the sword, and she did, and I've been doing the sword ever since. So I like weapons.
When you look back at how things have developed for your sport through this COVID, do you think it will make sense for them to continue in this vein for a few years and possibly get more students, because the lack of having to have that extra funding to travel to events can encourage more people to get involved?
Yes, definitely. I believe that I would love to see more martial artists come on board and do these tournaments. We've got through WFM, we've had these online tournaments. There's been some other tournaments as well that have been online that some Bermudians have competed in, where they send the video to the tournament organizers, and then judges look at it and stuff. I like the online tournaments. Tournaments aren't about who's the best, getting a first, second, or third place. It's about going out there and seeing how well you think you are doing. Because we all think, oh, well, I feel like I'm really good. But when you get in front of other people, then that determines, well, yes, you are doing really well, or yes, maybe I need to fix this. So moving forward, I would love to see more participants in the tournaments. We are actually having 2 local tournaments that will be online in October and November, which I'm hoping we can get a good supporting for those 2 tournaments.
When you look at, like I said, I've seen a few of the events take place, and I think what captures the eye of the judges is the blue water in the background, because a lot of these kids are doing it outside, especially if it's a good day. I think they're really impressed by the picturesque Bermuda. Do you think that helps a lot?
It does help a lot. Dominique Brown, she's got flags all over the place when she's competing, whether it's inside or outside. She's got the Bermuda flags, the white roofs, the blue sky. I have palm trees in my background for my grandkids. Collage Simon, she has the blue background, or sometimes she'll have a picture Bermuda scene. The people in England and in the States, all over the States, are just commenting, oh, Bermuda, I want to come to Bermuda. Let's go to Bermuda. So it is actually been it's a double bonus, because Bermuda's getting recognition, one for their martial artists, but also two for such a lovely island and the water and everything else. So hopefully we can get them into Bermuda at some point.
Yeah. When you were notified that it was a possibility that you was going to get these awards, the three of you, what was your thought process?
I was blown away, actually. I have no idea who nominated me and where it came from. And although on my picture it says up and comer, I actually got the International Instructors Award along with another lady in England. I was blown away. I mean, it's such a great. I'm humble that I got it, and it's a privilege to be acknowledged for my contributions to martial arts. Especially coming from where I was just doing it for exercise only, to becoming, as far as I have come in martial arts.
With the likes of Dominique and Pelagic, how much have they grown over the few years that they've been actually involved in the sport? Have you seen them grow?
That they have grown tremendously. I've taught collage since the day she started as a 5-year-old. And to watch her grow over the years, she's just blossomed, and she's got that power there. The same with Dominique. I've met Dominique a few years ago when we both traveled overseas to a John Chung's tournament, and watching her over the last couple of years, the practice and putting in what they need to put in, so that when they do compete, that you can see the power, you can see the correctness. And everything else. It's just amazing. It's amazing to see how much they have blossomed.
Prior to doing the competitions online and the restrictions and all, how much martial arts events did you watch on television or even video, just to see what style suits you and how you can improve yourself?
To be honest, not many. I have seen some tournaments. I am a part of, I think it's sports martial artists in the States, because they have been at a couple of the tournaments that I've been at. So I see them on Facebook and I watch their tournaments. Of course, with my age, I look more towards those that are in my age bracket, to see how I can improve myself and how I can better myself. For the kids side of things, when I see a really good younger adult competing in an online tournament or anything, I have highlighted it to the students in our school, so they can see, wow, I mean, look, that person's younger than me and look how well they're doing. So it can inspire them. We have to aspire to inspire the next generation of martial artists in Bermuda.
A lot of people see martial arts and it's always this person that is a slim person that's they have a particular look of
Yes.
sorts. But how does one determine, or how does a sensei determine what kata you will do for your body type? Because not everybody could do everything, can they?
No, that's correct. We and I can say and speak in our school, when we look at the students in our school, and you are correct with, if someone's tall and slim, they would be better off doing maybe MP, which is a fast, quick kata, versus someone that is not as slim, but is solid, and Basadai or Sochin is a great kata for them. So we do look at them, look at how well they learn, look at how well they move and do power movements, and then determine which kata would be best suited for them.
When you're doing local events, obviously you have a set of judges who primarily do different styles, do different forms.
Yes.
When you know you're doing a local event, are you concerned at any time when the possible judges don't fully know what your form is, or whomever's performing, and kind of give you bad marks because it's not something that they're used to seeing?
No, with our local, we do have judges from various schools, various different arts. And what we're looking at, or what they're looking at, is the power moves, making sure that the move was completed correctly. So it's not, the sequence of moves they won't know, but they do know that a downward block is executed correctly, how that's done correctly, versus a punch. If the fist is open, then obviously it's not a correct punch because the fist has got to be tight. Same with the kicks, low kicks or kicks that drop without coming back. They know all those little things, which is what they look at more so than the sequence. So you can do a kata in front of, let's say, a Taekwondo judge and leave out one of the moves, and they'll never know as long as you don't give it away on your face. They're looking at everything else.
Mm-hmm. When you guys do travel overseas, it's very long days because you all have to travel together and you get to the arena, and you could be competing at 6 o'clock, but the first person is competing at 8, that you're one of your students. So it's a long day and a long process for you. How do you prepare yourself? Because you have to go from being the coach teacher to being a competitor later on in the day, and it's a very long, drawn out process, and it's all compact in maybe 3 days.
Yep. It is very hard, and I tend to try and get to wherever we're going the day, at least a day early, so that I can go and buy bottles of water and snacks, not only for me but for the whole team, to make sure that we are good for the day. I make sure we get fruit and everything, so we have stuff to last us all day. Having a good breakfast in the morning time is definite, because after that I don't have anything until like maybe a pizza at 9 o'clock at night. So making sure that I have prepared in advance for the day is a definite bonus. Once we get there, you're correct. The kids are going all day, and then I have to compete. And most times mine are in the evening, late afternoon. If I'm going for grand champion, it tends to be 7, 8 o'clock at night. So it is hard trying to keep yourself psyched up, not tired. But somehow I just managed being prepared in advance, getting the rest, and mentally being ready for it helps me a lot.
As you're going through the processes of getting to where you are the 4th degree black belt, personally, and you said you were shy and all that, when did you start to come out of that shell? At which level were you at before you came out of that shell?
Once I had done a couple of competitions, so maybe when I was a purple, a green or a purple belt when I started doing it. Unfortunately, I didn't start competitions right away either. I always encouraged my students to start doing competitions as a white belt. Nothing's expected of you as a white belt per se, because you're a beginner. But for me, it was around then, and then I started getting more confidence, and then it started to evolve to my outside, into my career and into my church. And so that's when it blossomed, and it's gotten more and more. I'm still nervous. I'm sitting here nervous now, stressing about the interview, but it's nerves is good.
Yeah. Yeah. How long were you a white belt?
Probably I started in 2000, so I've been training for 20 years. It's my 20-year anniversary right now. So I was probably a white belt for about a year or so. I'm not the most graceful person. I'm not flexible. Movement for me doesn't come easy. Some people, they're just fluid and it's natural. And for me, it's a little bit harder. So there were struggles along the way. Have I thought about giving up all the time? But I never quit. It's just I kept going and going and going, and here I am.
Yeah. Now being recognized, because obviously um, the award ceremony was done online and watched by many, many. Not only those people involved, but other, people from other places.
Yes.
Where do you think this now puts Bermuda as a recognized martial arts place amongst the WFM?
I think it puts us in a high place. For three of us to get awards and to be recognized is just fantastic. And I think all we can do is just get better from each time. There's After each tournament, a lot of the instructors, a lot of the judges, I have meetings with them on a regular basis. They all talk about Bermuda and how strong our students are and how strong they look. And it's just, to be recognized by people, these are masters all over the world, to be recognized by them it's phenomenal for our up and coming students.
Yeah. We see a lot of congratulations online, people posting.
Yes.
And some of these people have been on that journey as well. You talk about you have to convince yourself not to quit. How much of that goes into making sure that you're not quitting on your students as well?
A lot of it does. I guess, I could say this on air, but I'm actually waiting to fly overseas for back surgery, so I will not be competing for the rest of the year. And I've kind of stopped now. I still teach, but that's it. But I'm anxious to get this surgery over and done with and get back into the dojo to be there for my kids. They're my kids. I don't want them to quit either. I get upset when they quit. One of my grandchildren did quit, and I was upset that she quit because I see the potential in all these students. They might, some of them have potential in one area, some of them have potential in another area. But I don't want them to quit. I want them to pursue, get on with it, and move ahead, because people do see Bermuda as an excellent martial artist arena for up and comers. So,
yeah. I was going to talk about injuries, and obviously you brought this one up. But how does because a lot of people that do martial arts do a lot of meditating.
mm-hmm.
How much of that helps when you're fighting injury and you need to overcome certain things? You go deep within to calm yourself down, because a lot of people that love to compete would hate to see a competition and they're sitting on the sideline due to injury.
And that's how I'm feeling right now. It is the worst thing to sit there and watch these tournaments and even watch the training, and I can't train because of my back. I've had injuries over the years. I've had surgeries over the years. And as soon as I'm able to, I'm back in the dojo. I might not be able to teach completely. I might not be able to walk properly, but I can still show you, an upper rising block or whatever. So it has a lot. Doctors have told me, oh, maybe you should think about quitting karate. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not happening. No, that's not an option. And even the doctor for this surgery is like, well, it's amazing that you're still doing this. And I'm like, well, yes, I believe it helps me. And martial arts has helped me to overcome this injury, to have the passion and the desire to do it. It helps me. We shouldn't give up, and we shouldn't give into our body and the pains and stuff. As hard as it is, as hard as, that pain is, we should say, you know what? It's not going to give in. I'm not going to give in to it, and I'm not going to sit here and wallow in self-pity. I'm going to get up and move and do. And so a lot of my friends right now are like, Andrew, you can't do it. Sit down. And I'm like, no. So, yeah. And a lot of times I do, the breathing. I don't meditate, but I do breathing exercises to also help me. And, when that pain comes, that stop for a minute, get over that pain. It's mind over matter.
Yeah. Have you seen the coming together of the clubs in Bermuda as far as martial arts over the years?
I I have. It's I wish we had more involvement from all the clubs on the island, because we do have quite a few clubs on the island, and having us all involved as one unified body would be absolutely amazing. Um, as with anything, there are hiccups, but moving forward, this next generation that we are going to rely on so heavily are going hopefully will be the ones that will completely unite us as a governing body, as not even a governing body, but unite us as one body. And get we had back in the heyday, we used to have tournaments here all the time, and lots of overseas competitors would come into the Bermuda Open and stuff like that. And we need to get back to that again. We need to make Bermuda a viable place for martial artists to come and have these big tournaments again. Cynthia Rothrock, I'm not sure if you've heard of her, but she's a martial artist, but she's also an actor. She's been in many, many movies. And I met her a few years ago when I was inducted into a book in the States, and she was in the book. But she was here in Bermuda back in the 70s competing at Hamilton Princess. There's videos of her online. We need to get that back again in Bermuda, and for the betterment of martial arts and our students that are coming behind us.
How often are you still having your students train? Are they still doing the Mondays and Wednesdays online?
No, we are actually back in the dojo. So I said that we went. I think it was back in May when they said people can train outside. So what we did, we went to the basketball courts at Shelley Bay, and we broke them up into groups because I didn't want to have 10 people. I wanted to have a lot less. They have to wear a mask, and we trained outside, and then the adults trained outside. So we were able to do that, and to me, it was a wonderful opportunity for the kids, because the children not being in school and not being around peers, I think will have an effect on them. So for them to be able to, although socially distanced, see their martial arts friends, it was great. We are back in the dojo now. Because of space, I've had to break the classes down to different times. But we're following the temperatures. We're wearing shoes because I heard that there is a possibility that you can get it through your feet. So we're wearing shoes in the dojo. I sanitize everything. Like, I'm very strict. But we are back in the dojo, and it's fantastic. We've had grading. So we've tried to keep everything as normal as possible, because it's good for the kids to be able to do that on a regular basis. And we've actually grown. We've got new students started. So
all in the part of COVID that we've come out on the other side of.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Andrea, I want to thank you for your time. Again, congratulations to the three of you, and more things to come. Obviously, you spoke about Bermuda hosting events in October, November.
Yes, October 24th and November 2nd, I believe.
Okay, well, we look forward to those events, and hopefully it shines a new light on Bermuda for the WFM, and they can get an opportunity to actually want to bring an event to Bermuda.
Yes.
Even if it's through online, if it's hosted in Bermuda, then we look really, really well. So I want to thank you for your time, and congratulations yet again.
Thank you so much.
Well, folks, that's it from the BNV Sports Show here. Enjoy the rest of your day.